Investigative journalist Barima Osei has described former Attorney General Martin Amidu's criticisms as diversionary tactics deliberately meant to distract him.
You cannot make statements in the vacuum. Three things he said. One, I was commissioned by government. I say no. I don't get it. Even if I did. But in this case, I have not. That's the point I'm making. You understand? I have not. If I did, like I always do, the first thing you see before my documentary is to say that I collaborated with this person and that person. We've done many, and there are many collaborations in the pipeline. So I don't get it. So that's the first point he makes. Now, secondly, he says, I've done parliament. I say, no. I've shown it to parliamentarians. I said, no, uncle. I haven't done it.
Anti-corruption crusader has challenged the former Attorney General to go to court if he has any issues with what he and us is doing.
What is the problem? If you think there's a problem with it, here is the court of law. You can go and look. Let me start with Indebugri. And he's one of my fascinating characters since this thing broke. He had problems. He says that, look, Anas, you cannot be hooded. And he gives it to me from platform to platform. Whenever I hear, I get so happy. Eh? But at the end of the day, what does he do? He goes to court.
In all of these, one of the implicated High Court judges, Justice Gilbert Ado, has filed a fresh suit against the Tiger IPI and the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana and the Attorney General, describing the investigative company Tiger IPI as fraudulent and malicious, among other things. How does this affect the credibility of Tiger IPI? But since when did the implicated judge realize that Anas's company was operating illegally? After Martin Amidu raised the issue, did the Attorney General err in granting Anas immunity? We'll be finding answers shortly on today's big story. With me, Aisha Brian. Attorney General Martin Amidu issued a statement saying government is opportunistically using the judicial bribery scandal to hide massive political corruption. He also alleges Anas had made leaders of parliament watch investigative video of corrupt MPs. According to him, influence from the executive and other key persons in government prevented the broadcast of the MP's video that he claims was paid for by government. But Anas and his team, as well as government, have denied Martin Amidu's claims.
So first of all, let's answer the straight and simple question. Martin Amidu says you're a government spy. Is that true?
Well, first of all, I must be clear about this, that I have a lot of respect for Uncle Martin, and it's not been today, it's been for a very long time. But my point is that you cannot make statements in the vacuum. Three things he said. One, I was commissioned by government. I say no. Many government spokespersons have said no. And look, when it comes to this issue of collaborating, I have never been shy of this. I've always been emphatic about collaborations that I've had. Joy, I had collaborations with you. Have you forgotten that we did the abortion doctor together? There are many collaborations. Look, in Sierra Leone, I did a collaboration. In Tanzania, I did a collaboration with Tanzanian government. In Seychelles, in fact, Seychelles, before the collaboration, I was arrested. Then later, we collaborated. We did fantastic work. Now, if I can collaborate in other countries, why cannot? What stops me from collaborating in my own country?
Well, Amidu's claim is that if you indeed did collaborate on this story, you would have effectively weakened our government by giving one organ power over another.
I don't get it. Even if I did. But in this case, I have not. That's the point I'm making. You understand? I have not. If I did, like I always do, the first thing you see before my documentary is to say that I collaborated with this person and that person. We've done many, and there are many collaborations in the pipeline. So I don't get it. So that's the first point he makes. Now, secondly, he says, I've done parliament. I say, no. I've shown it to parliamentarians. I said, no, uncle, I haven't done it.
So you haven't investigated parliament?
Where is it? Where is the parliamentary video? If you say I have shown a video to 75 members of parliament, I say no, I have not done it. I don't get it. You understand? People are asking, so do you have a parliamentary video? I don't deny or accept those points, because every good investigator, you never say, how many things don't you have as Joy FM in your pipeline that you are not speaking about? As journalists, this is what we do. We have a lot of things in our pipeline. We know when to release it. We only talk about them when they are ready. Look, my brother, Uncle Martin's thing is really getting interesting. Now he moves on to a third point, that I have withdrawn some videos. Where are the videos? Who did I leave out? Look, I respect him so much. He does his own style of anti-corruption, which perhaps if you give me the next 15 years, I will not be able to do. I beg him. I also do mine. He should give me the freedom. He is not going to pick and choose what I should do. Parliament is there. If he wants to do parliament, please, it's all there. The executive is there. GPRTU is there. There are many areas of corruption in this country. We can all choose. I don't want to be seen in a back and forth fight with him over this. It doesn't mean well for the country. We all have to be at one corner and respect everybody's style of fighting. If you say collaborate, you don't like collaborating with government, I agree. I say I do. I went to school. My parents took care of me. I have become an investigator. I've decided to set up Tiger IPI. I've decided to work with people I want to work with. What is the problem? If you think there's a problem with it, here is the court of law. You can go and look. Let me start with Indebugri, and he's one of my fascinating characters since this thing broke. He had problems. He says that, look, Anas, you cannot be hooded, and he gives it to me from platform to platform. Whenever I hear, I get so happy. But at the end of the day, what does he do? He goes to court. Egbert Fable belongs to another position. At the end of the day, he thinks about the whole thing and he says, I'm going to court. And Krabia Fadate belongs to another position. He says, look, at the end of the day, he goes to court. Lawyer Nick Papo Somoa Ado has his problems with me. He also goes to court. If Uncle Martin thinks that this is so bad and that, please, the court is there.
He says he might go.
He should. What's the problem? Look, let me tell you one thing, Kojo. The going to court and all that, it strengthens our democracy. Today we are arguing about to food or not to food. By God's grace, the Supreme Court will make a pronouncement, which will be something that we will all abide by in years to come. So whatever his issues are, let him proceed to court. We'll meet him there squarely. We'll answer the questions. And this is not a fight. It's about nation building. And I think that it's better we all put our hands on deck and push this country forward.
Now, it's obvious that we all understand why you feel the need to hood. Okay, you know, your anonymity allows you to do your job better. It also keeps you safe. But do you also feel that those who end up being accused following the work you do have the right to face their accuser?
See, a lot has happened. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to disclose anything that has happened with regards to the committee setting. It's so unfortunate. But hey, the evidence is not hooded. It's there. All these accused persons have been given opportunities, and many of them have been people come there with 4 or 5 lawyers. My brother, this is no joke. It is strict proof. That's why when I hear Uncle Amidu talking, it's strict proof. If you say something, let us see it. Look, I'm being subjected to all sorts of cross-examination and all sorts of questions, and I am answering them. What do you need my face for? What is on my face that must aid you? You've taken the money, you've taken. You have not, you have not. And look, my biggest day is that day when this results will come. For me, it's like an examination. And I'm focused. I know about the machinations people are putting in place. Look, Kojo, all these machinations are aimed at just making sure that I don't concentrate on the committee sitting. For me, that is the biggest goal. I will feel very disappointed, and I know Ghanaians will be very disappointed in me if at the end of the day there is a press conference to say, okay, in it he didn't get anybody. So I can't live with that. So you understand?
If you didn't catch this on the Super Morning Show, you can have a feel of it on PM Express tonight at 9 p.m. But on the back of this, a fresh suit has been filed by one of the implicated High Court judges, Justice Gilbert Osei Asare, and Malik Abbas Dabo, my Joy Online editor, is here in the studio to help discuss the issues. Malik, take us through this fresh suit and what exactly Gilbert Osei is seeking in court.
Well, first of all, Gilbert Osei was one of the High Court judges. He was based in Tamale, and he presided over a case, Hans versus Abu Hassan. Right. It was on this matter that Anas and his team approached him and tried to bribe him to treat the matter in a manner that they wanted. Now, he was one of the 7 High Court judges. We do know that the High Court judges were 12 of them. 2 of them have gone on retirement. 10 of them are still in active service. Right. The 10 of them that are in active service, 7 of them were suspended by the Chief Justice's committee. He happened to be one of the 7 of them. Okay. He brought this suit in court, and it's a very comprehensive suit, to be entirely honest with you.
Exactly, 14 pages.
Absolutely, and I think there's more, and he's raised a number of issues. Okay. First of all, the respondents or the defendants in this suit are 3 of them. Okay. Tiger IPR, that is Anas's company, he's the first respondent. The Chief Justice Georgina Tudorawu, she's the second defendant, and then the Attorney General, she's the third defendant. Now, her case against Tiger IPR, primarily, like we saw in Justice Derry's case, is that Anas's company gathered the evidence, collected the audiovisual recordings in a manner that violated his fundamental right to privacy. And he thought that, in fact, apart from that, he also says that the collection itself was fraudulent. Right. And that's when he raises the question about the registration of Anas's company. And we do know that former Attorney General Martin Amidu in the past couple of weeks has been in the media arguing forcefully that Anas's Tiger IPI is a fraudulent company, to the extent that, as far as he's concerned, the company is unregistered. Right. It's the same argument Justice Isi Boateng is making. Okay. So he's saying that because Tiger IPI is not registered or not licensed, and there are 2 things here, registration and licensing. For them, Tiger IPI is not registered. Okay. It is also not licensed to conduct the kind of investigations that it is conducting. Okay. To that extent, the collection of the video was done fraudulently, because this is a company that is not licensed to, it's not authorized by law to do the things that it is doing. So if it did that, it did the collection fraudulently. Beyond that, he's also arguing that the collection itself was done maliciously. Okay. Apart from the illegality, there was malice. The collection was accentuated by malice. Okay. And his argument is, when the team came before him, the intention, they intended, there was malice aforethought, that is, they intended malice from day one when they approached him, and they made presentations to him, and the intention was to film that presentation, even though he didn't take any money. They made presentations to him, filmed it, and the intention was to submit that evidence in order to remove him from the bench as a judge. Right. And you do know that when they filmed all of this, so he's making a number of arguments. First, the collection was fraudulent. Second, there was malice. Okay. Now he moves on and says, okay, Anas sent a petition to the president. Okay. The president forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice set up a committee to investigate the matter. Right. The Chief Justice made a prima facie finding against him. Okay. Prima facie simply means that on the face of the evidence, you have a case to answer. Okay. His argument is, if you look at the petition Anas submitted to the president, Anas looked at bribery, and he says that by the Constitution, it is only a court of law that can find a person guilty of bribery. Right. But the Chief Justice's committee found him, made a prima facie findings against him when it said that he engaged in third-party communication with one party on a matter before him. Right. And he says that this was not part of Anas's case before the president, because the Chief Justice Committee is arguing that having a third-party communication with a party in a matter before you is in violation of the Code of Conduct for Judges and Magistrates of Ghana.
Okay.
But his argument is this is not one of the things that Anas put in his petition.
Okay.
Why is the Chief Justice's Committee,
right,
which is not mandated by the Constitution to make a finding of a criminal nature against a person, finding him guilty of a matter that was not before the president? That is, Anas goes to the president and says, I have evidence that Justice Eisi Boateng and other justices, among others, collected money to pervert justice.
How about the Attorney General? How does the Attorney General
Well, the Attorney General's case is that the Attorney General granted Anas immunity from criminal and civil liabilities on account of his work in this judicial scandal.
Right.
The Justice Eisi Boateng is arguing that, first of all, Anas is not a whistleblower. And he's quoting the Whistleblowers Act, and he's saying that by his interpretation of the Whistleblowers Act, Anas is not a whistleblower. If Anas is not a whistleblower, he's not entitled to any protection that the Attorney General is purporting to grant him.
Okay, on the phone line is Frank Davis, former Greater Accra president of the Ghana Bar Association, is joining in the discussion. Frank, many thanks for your time. Now, the latest suit by Justice Eisi describes Anas's company, Tiger IPI, as fraudulent, malicious, and operating illegally. Are you surprised that this suit is coming at this time, only after former Attorney General Martin Amidu has raised this issue? Hello, Mr. Davis.
No, that's not Mr. Davis. This who?
Well, we'll be trying to get Frank Davis on the line, but let me come back to you, Malik. You're talking about the Attorney General. So the issue is that Anas is not a whistleblower.
That's his argument.
And so he cannot be granted immunity. But how different is this suit from Justice Derry's suit? Because I can see some similarities.
There indeed are similarities, except that his suit is a bit more comprehensive. Remember that Justice Derry's suit came, one of his suits, the first one, which he filed on 14 September, that was the earliest suit, and it didn't contain some of the issues that are contained in Justice Eisi Boateng's case. For example, Justice Eisi Boateng did not make the novel argument. Sorry, Justice Derry did not make the novel argument Justice Eisi Boateng is making, looking at Article 146 of the Constitution, which forms the basis for removing a superior court judge if that superior court judge is found to have engaged him or herself in impropriety. The Constitution simply says that if you have a case against a superior court judge, that is a high court judge, a court of appeal judge, or a Supreme Court judge, you file a petition to the president. The president, looking at the petition, will forward it back to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice will look at it. The basis must be unstated grounds of misconduct. When the Chief Justice looks at it and makes a prima facie case against you, the Chief Justice will make a recommendation to the President, and the President will ask that you be suspended. That is what happened in the case of these 7 High Court judges, and Justice Eisi Boateng happened to be one of them. The novel argument he's making now about the Chief Justice's 5-member committee, which is looking, in his view, which is looking at the violation of the Code of Conduct for Judges and Magistrates of Ghana, and he's saying that that was not part of Anas's case. So you cannot hold him responsible for a case which was not a subject matter of the petition in the first place, because the petition simply says that he was found to have allegedly received bribes, and his case is that is a matter of a criminal nature. And he further argues that by the Constitution, it's only a court of law that can find a person guilty of any crime. Since this 5-member committee set up by the Chief Justice does not have the power, it's not constitutionally guaranteed to find a person guilty of a crime, the prima facie finding made against him was done in error. It was illegal and unlawful. To that extent, he wants the court to declare that finding null and void.
Well, he also make the argument of the invasion of his privacy. What does he say about that?
Well, he simply says that the Constitution guarantees him his right to privacy. If Anas and his team came before him and recorded him in his house without forewarning him, he thought that that was a violation of his privacy. So it's one of the cases that one of the reliefs he's seeking, he wants the court to declare, to the extent that the evidence was collected in violation of his privacy, the evidence was collected unlawfully, that evidence is inadmissible. That evidence cannot be relied on for the impeachment proceedings that have been launched against him by the Chief Justice's committee.
But we all know that there's also this, is it ex parte? Because if he's talking about invasion of privacy, how about the judges who might have breached that ex parte law or engaged in ex parte communication, which is against the code of conduct of judges?
That is why he's saying that the violation or the breaching of that code, the code of conduct for judges and magistrates of Ghana,
right,
which is talking about ex parte communication, that was not part of Anas's case before the president. Remember that the foundation of all of these things is Anas's petition. Anas sent a petition to the president asking that Justice A.C. Boateng and 11 other high court judges should be removed from the bench because in the petitioner's view, and the petitioner here is Anas and Tiger PI, in the petitioner's view, these judges misconducted themselves by trading justice for money and for other pecuniary benefits. That's the foundation of the measures being instituted by the Chief Justice. But he's arguing that if Anas comes before you and says that we have taken money, that is bribery, which is a criminal offense, the violation of the Code of Conduct for Magistrates, ex parte communication, is not part of Anas's case. So the Chief Justice's committee cannot go and sit down and find Justice A.C. Boateng guilty of an offense that Anas didn't bring against him when he sent the petition to the president. Do you understand? So Anas goes to the president and says a number of things that he thinks that the judge is guilty of. Amongst those things is not a case of ex parte communication, not at all. He's talking about bribery. Justice A.C. Boateng's case is that the Chief Justice's 5-member committee cannot then find him guilty of ex parte communication, which is in breach of the Code of Conduct for Judges and Magistrates, when Anas didn't make that allegation against him.
Let's get on to the phone lines and speak with lawyer Dusai Poku. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on today's big story. Now, the latest suit by Justice A.C. describes Anas's company Tiger IPI as fraudulent, malicious, and operating illegally. Are you surprised that this suit is coming at this time, only after former Attorney General Martin Amido raised the issue?
What I think is that Mr. Amido has made a case in public, and then the lawyers for the judges have been hoodwinked into believing that his case is sacrosanct. But the position of Anas is also strong, that Tiger Eye has been registered. So at the end of the day, able to provide the certificate of incorporation, and the certificate to commence business. It means that that side of the case will not be able to, go on. It won't really stand the test of time. The other aspect also is that of how the name is used, and then what is actually registered. I believe that is not an issue which is very significant. In that, if you register a very long name as a company, and then you use the short version, and it's the same talking about the same thing, the law has that can happen.
But the latest suit by Justice A.C. is also seeking justice for the invasion of his privacy. I mean, how can this happen when there is clear evidence that he may have breached the code of conduct of judges by having an ex parte communication with one party in a case before him?
Well, from the perspective of the judge, he believes that the person who appeared before him wasn't one party to the action in the case of Movement and the other person. So, the person came pretending to be representing one of the parties. And in order to communicate that out. But here, he wasn't that person or one of the parties that he was dealing with. That's why they are trying to out of.
So
their
you
code
think
of conduct.
he can be granted? He may have his wish in court.
Well, you know, this process are not strictly. That's why I believe they are going to the mainstream court. But the disciplinary committee, when they act, normally the standards are different as compared to what the law also insist that they happen. That's why they are running to the court. But we wait for the committee to pronounce on those issues. And I think both can run concurrently.
One of the critical issues he raises with the Attorney General is the fact that the Attorney General granted Anas immunity. Did the AG err in granting Anas immunity?
Well, first of all, that's the wrong premise based on which they are complaining. In that, if you look at the Whistleblowers Act, the immunities that are conferred on a whistleblower is an act, immunity that's established by law. So it's not created based on any executive order, or neither is it based on the whims and caprices of any state agent or assigned or minister. So it's a creature of statute. And once the creature of statute, it cannot be taken or conferred by any minister, including the Attorney General. So it's been conferred by law itself. And what the Attorney General thought to do basically was to restate what was already existing.
Well, many thanks to you, Lawyer Duse Poku. Extremely grateful for your time on today's big story. Malik, so you were making a case or his case on the Attorney General and the fact that he's also talking about the invasion of his privacy. And I asked if he could be granted.
Well, it's difficult to tell. In these matters, you go and make your case. An impartial judge listens to you. I'm sure Anas's lawyers will be in court. The Chief Justice lawyers will be in court. The Attorney General may be in court. They will also make their argument. And an impartial judge will listen to both sides and decide on the basis of the law.
Well, many thanks to you, Malik, for your time on today's big story. Been talking about Anas's response to Martin Amido's claims and the fresh suit brought against him by Justice Aisi, who's also making claims of a lot of things. He's talking about invasion of privacy, why Anas was granted immunity, and a lot more in his 14-page suit. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching today's big story.